Hello, viewers. Today's SADF podcast is about Nepal's politics. Nepal today stands at a critical juncture, still reverberating from the seismic Gen Z color revolution of September 2025. Triggered by a ban on social media and frustration with corruption, youth led mass protests were met with intense state repression. Security forces' excessive use of force, resulting in at least 77 deaths, sparked nationwide outrage and led to the resignation of Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. In the aftermath, an inquiry panel has been convened to investigate these events, summoning Mr. Oli for clarifications on the crackdown. In the wake of these upheavals, President Powell appointed former Chief Justice Sushila Karki as head of a 6-month interim government in September. This caretaker administration faces formidable challenges, from legal and constitutional scrutiny over its formation to ensure law and order, infrastructure repair, and international legitimacy ahead of the projected March 2026 parliamentary elections. As Nepal approaches its March 2026 polls, the upcoming election carries high stakes. Restoring public trust in institutions, mediating between old party dominance and rising grassroots movements, and navigating legal challenges to the interim government's authority. Joining us today is Dr. Pramod Jaiswal, the research director at the Nepal Institute for International Cooperation and Engagement, and a recognized expert on Nepali politics, South Asian geopolitics, and Sino Indian dynamics. Dr. Jaiswal's insight, as we have seen on our previous podcasts, drawing from his extensive background and prior discussions, will illuminate the complexities of Nepal's present moment, including the election, the inquiry into the Gen Z movement, shifting freedom of expression, interim governance, and Nepal's evolving relations with China and India. Welcome, Dr. Pramod Jaiswal.
Thank you, Tapas.
So, my first question is actually about how would you characterize Nepal's current political situation after the Gen Z color revolution? Has the movement fundamentally altered the country's political dynamics?
As you are aware that we are having election on 5th of March. So now the political parties are working in that direction. So now we can feel that the election fest has like started. Different political dynamics are emerging. RSP, which is one of the leading party for the youth, is supported by many Gen Z leaders at the moment. Balin Shah, who is a mayor and a rapper who is very popular, he has joined Rashtriya Swatantra Party (RSP), and many other people have joined that movement. So that is one sign that youth are united under one political group. Different other smaller groups are also coming in alliance with that particular RSP party. But there are also setbacks while there is new enthusiasm among the political forces, especially the youth. What we have also witnessed is that even the new parties are behaving like the traditional forces. Kulman Singh, who was one of the minister who just resigned recently to participate in upcoming election, he was one of the major minister. He had joined RSP and he was supported by Genjis, but within few weeks, 1 or 2 weeks, he left that group. So what we see is that still, like in the old parties, there was lots of factions. Everyone had a greed for power, but agenda was less important, ideology was less important. I think we will witness the similar factor even in the new forces. Second is that uh, things are uncertain. Like at the moment, people expect that maybe the Gen Z forces or the new forces like RSP can emerge as a largest party, but the way they function is very similar, and people are not very happy with that because when they had nominated many important celebrities in proportionate representation, which is for the deprived, marginalized group, they fill it with the businessmen, celebrities who were most influential. So the people question that this particular representative, proportionate representative seat is not for those people. So how is this party or Gen Z different from them? People have questions because many Gen Z people have supported RSP and all. Third is that every political parties will promote young people in this election. That is for sure. We have seen that Maoist, when they came with proportionate representation candidate seats, They said that almost all their candidates are new, who have never been represented. So that is a new change we have seen currently. Today, oldest party, Nepali Congress, which was headed by Sherpal Deuba, he declined to give up the space to the other leaders of his party, younger generations. Gagan Thapa, who is seen as a youth icon, he is having a party convention today. He called for that convention in spite of his general secretary and the president was against it. The party chairman was against it, but in spite of that, he has been able to call for that. Currently, they have just inaugurated the convention. It lasts for 2 to 3 days, and if he's able to sustain support, there'll be new face of Nepali Congress, which will be represented by the youth leader. So that is another change. What we have seen is that the traditional parties are slowly moving towards, we can say, reform. They're trying to get more youth, trying to address those demands. At the same time, the Gen Z forces or new forces that emerge, they're also trying to move away from towards the traditional parties, which means trying to accommodate old forces, trying to behave the way they have behaved so that they can get some support. So I think both will come to a compromise, and during elections they will be playing in a situation where they'll try to gather more votes. So we are in a situation of election now where people were worried about that because we have seen how things have evolved in Dhaka. It's years and the election is still uncertain. What Nepal has been successful in is that getting an election on time, and
Right.
I think we'll be able to reach to some of the demands of the youth. I think government that will emerge will be more accountable. Obviously, there will be question raised. It's not transformation doesn't happen overnight, so I think it will be challenging for them. But I think we're moving in the right direction at the moment.
Right. So, with parliamentary elections expected in March 2026, what are the key challenges facing the interim government in ensuring free and fair polls? Do, do you foresee any constitutional or legal hurdles in front of the government?
We are having a general election where we'll be nominating the prime minister, because right now we have a prime minister who is nominated and the parliament is dissolved. So we'll have a parliamentary election which will select the prime minister. There will be no legal hurdles because I think the hurdle was in the formation of the government. But now we already have an interim government. So now the government is facilitating for elections. So I think all the political parties and everyone is supporting them in that direction. It is good for Nepal at the moment because from what you call a kind of chaos or kind of uncertainty, we are moving towards certainty because now there'll be parliament which can function, and the legal changes that would require, like changes in constitution and all, the new government will be taking care of that. Right now, the current government have clearly stated that they do not have the mandate of making any changes in terms of constitution or in terms of law. So the prime minister is not touching those aspects. He said that let the new government come and take care of those things.
She's very wise because she was the Chief Justice and I mean, I think the only female Chief Justice in South Asia so
Uh,
far.
First in Nepal, I don't know what South is. Probably in whole South Asia.
I think in South Asia as well, because I haven't heard from India or any, not in Bangladesh, I know of. In Pakistan, I don't think so. So only left with Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, maybe, but I think she is the only one so far. So, given your summary, I just have a quick question about what is the reaction of Nepal's neighbors like China and India? How do you summarize their reactions?
Both India and China are in favor of election. They think that sooner the election, it is better for them because there'll be stability in the country. There'll be new government which can take over and control the situation and move further. At the same time, once the election is there, all the political parties will be involved in the process, and then they'll be part of state. So they'll be competing within that. But right now, the situation is very volatile, where anything can happen. There can be new protest. Some have even requested for reinstatement of the parliament. So there are lots of confusion. There can be clashes and all. But that's why India and China both want election on time, so that a new mandate, new government come into power, and they try to address the aspiration, desire, and dreams of the people. Both India and China have expressed that they were willing to support the election process. They're ready to provide all the financial and support that is required. Sometimes they provide vehicles and many other things are required for election because it's very expensive matters. So I think India and China is strongly in that. They're together on that side. Even West and other American, they're ready to support Nepal's election process. So I think right now we are in a situation that we do not have any geopolitical factor that are against the election at the moment.
Great. Two words you have used in your answer. One is new mandate and dreams of the people. So if you can tell us that what is the new mandate and what is the dream of the people right now?
A new mandate means right now we have a government which is nominated. So through election there will be new mandate where it will be accepted to the youth because youth are participating in it, and once the mandate is there they will be bound to accept it. Reinstating the previous parliament will be the youth can reject that. Oh, it's not our mandate. Gen Z might not accept that. So new mandate would be the mandate that comes through this election, where Gen Z are participating and they're accepting, they're clearly stating that they will accept the government through this election. New dreams and desire and aspiration will be those that the new government, through the new mandate, will have to address, which is they have to be more accountable, they have to be more representative, they have to address the issue of governance strongly, try to address the economic desires that they have. So I think that is what people are expecting from the new government. They want new government to form like a new party, or a new government has to behave as per the demand and dreams of Gen Z, where they have to accommodate those demands. So that is how I look at it.
Right. I'll come to that perspective. But currently, how do you assess the performance of the interim government so far? Has it managed to restore public trust and stabilize governance after the upheaval?
Yes, the current interim prime minister has been able to do that successfully. I mean, since the day one, she has started working with the political parties that let's start working for the election. I mean, before she was nominated, the election date was fixed, 5th of March. So since day one, she has started talking to the political forces that I am here to conduct the election. Let's work for that election. Second is that she has been able to also take Gen Z into confidence that initially when the Gen Z were divided, when they were not aware of what is possible and what is impossible, because they were having all kind of, oh, let's rewrite the constitution where you do not have those mandate. So she was able to talk to them and make them understand that certain things need proper process and that takes time and that need passion. So now Gen Zs are calm, they understand that situation. She has been able to do that. At the same time, she has been able to have a very functioning cabinet where people are quite happy at the moment in terms of delivery. Things are quick. To in one sense, corruption is controlled. We have not heard about massive misuse of power. So in that sense, I think it's a successful government. Finally, all the political parties have come on board. They are ready for election. The dates are near. So I think that is the advantage of the current government, that she has been able to manage both internal and external conflict.
So, Gen Z, what percentage of voters of Nepal are Gen Z?
I think there are substantial number of youth in Nepal. Second is that during this time there was a massive voting registration campaign conducted by youth. So the huge number of youth were the one. Someone told me that it was roughly 16 lakh of Nepali youth have joined as a voter. So it's a substantial number. That 1.6 youth new voter joining this election is remarkable. And obviously there are other numbers that exist, like youth are huge in number. So I think they will be a major player in this election this time because they have participated. They are excited that they will be able to participate in the election. They have a role. So Gen Z is like, a movement that brought youth into active politics. You know,
Right.
uh, uh, so it's like that is most important. Like initially, people used to think that, oh, youth are not so important, or the youth are not so active in Nepal. Yeah, they
The
like to go abroad, travel, make money and all. They are not interested in politics. So that was the major change that we can see. That now we have seen many political parties that have emerged where youth are participating. According to some data, it says that youth who is from 18 to 40 years, it
Mhm.
comes around 52% of the registered voters. So it's a huge number. It means like more than 50% of the voters are youth.
Right.
Second is that even if you look at the trend, what we see generally is globally that youth turnout percentage of youth is higher than other people like senior citizen. They are unwell or they are less interested, so I think they'll be remarkable. Though they are only 52%, the voting percent will be higher among youth, so they'll be determining force in this election. And second is that after Gen Z movement, they have realized that they should be part of active politics. They should contribute to nation. So their participation as a candidate, as a leader, as a party activist will increase. Third is that mobilization. For the first time, there are lots of NGOs, lots of media. They are having groups. They are learning themselves how they can be part of that election process, where they will campaign how to vote, campaign that we should vote, and also the activist campaign whom to vote. So I think this kind of massive use of AI, or you can say social media technology, will be there in this election. So that is the major transformation, the role of youth and their use of technology and their presence, which is 52% of the voter list, and their turnout will be high, will be making a huge impact in this coming election.
Right. Whether AI will work as a neutral factor, or do you think whoever will run the AI, they will decide the fate of use of AI in the Nepalese election? What do you think?
I think this time the role of technology will be very, very important compared to previous election, and it's not only in Nepal. I think globally, how you use social media, how you use AI, how you create different publicity materials in very short time, which is very convincing, and even it can have a negative impact that sometimes it can be used against a candidate, a rumor,
Mhm.
which can like a day before there'll be some misinformation can also be it happens during election where to contain your opponent you create some deep fake or some video which can hurt the voters, and then that can impact the vote. So I think all these things, how election will commissioner will be able to manage that, these things are very challenging, and obviously technology will be very powerful. Those
Right.
who can use will be surely benefiting from this during this election, because it's very convincing. In very short time you can create number of publicity materials where you can't, we know that a candidate cannot go to all the constituency all the time, so at the time when you're not this virtual presence, communicating with people during virtually or through videos or through messages, all these will be very important through their social media, so I think technology will be very important during this election, and those who will use will have a leverage on.
Right. So what I understand is that Gen Z is quite engaged, mobilized, and still they are want to change the country's course of politics or political course. But what about the major political parties, especially the Communist Party under KP Sharma Oli? Are they positioning themselves for the upcoming election, and how they are positioning themselves? Do you see any ideological shifts or tactical realignments within the major political parties of Nepal?
The three major traditional parties, Nepali Congress, CPN, UML, and Maoist, which is now Nepali Communist Party, they have
Mhm.
merged with different faction groups. So they are trying to consolidate themselves. While all these three parties are also consolidating themselves internally, they're also trying to form alliance, broader alliance among them. Nepali Congress and KP Sharma Oli had communication. KP Sharma Oli and Prachanda all had communication. They were trying to form a broader alliance, but within their party, there are certain groups they said they do not want that. Like within Nepali Congress, the youth leaders say that no, we should stand with the youth. Joining hands with old traditional parties can be counterproductive, because all that happened, the movement was a part of that same disease where the old traditional parties were controlled by the 80 plus or 80 years old leaders, and they were not able to understand the aspiration of the youth. So they said that forming that alliance is challenging, and these ideas was in all the three parties. Like even the president has huge pressure not to align with UML, uh, and rather he should give a space to youth. It's same situation is in UML, where they want KP Sharma Oli to resign and give space to the youth. Same is on Deuba. But these old leaders, they're trying to form alliance and contain the new forces. So there's setback to all three of them. So it was being tried that all three should come together, but it did not happen, and it is likely that it will not happen now. because Gagan Thapa and all the new forces, I mean, you can say young forces within Nepali Congress, they have challenged the leadership and they're having a party convention. If they win, it will be very challenging for Dewa to have that. UML, obviously, like they are trying, but they have not been successful. Maoist, there is huge pressure on them not to join alliance with KP Oli, not even with others. So I think it will be challenging for them. Some might come together, probably Maoist and Congress or Congress and UML, but I think forming a broad alliance is difficult. Again, if they form alliance, there it is not going to work because they know that it's the same traditional ideology and all that remains with them. So I think the people here is like for the first time, people of Nepal are not ideology based. They will not be voting based on ideology, but based on how they're going to deliver, how they're going to address the problem that exists in society in terms of corruption, governance, and all. They do not look at the color of the party. No, it doesn't matter to them. They just look at who can deliver and have stability, development in the country.
Right. Nepal has a tendency of having hanging parliaments. What do you think that what is the possibility of having a hanging parliament in the next election?
Uh, Actually, if you look at Nepal's political structure at the moment, no party can ever get majority because we have proportionate system, we have directly elected system, and there are several parties, so it's impossible for one party to get absolute majority. That's why in Nepal it's very impossible to have a dictator, we can say. At least two parties have to come together to form an alliance. At least two. Even the two major parties, if they come together, otherwise they might have to have more than three to have a government. So in that sense, it's sometimes risky. It's unstable. It's challenging, but also it's like it's more democratic in the sense that no one can move unilaterally and take all the decisions. They have to please everyone. So it has both advantage and disadvantage, but the political system that we have is very challenging. It's difficult to have stability because we see how fragmented our societies are.
So let's move to the inquiry committee investigation. The inquiry committee investigating the excessive use of force during the protest has summoned key figures like Oli. What do you expect from its findings and how credible is its modus operandi?
The committee has already interviewed Prime Minister Oli, former Prime Minister Oli, and even former Home Minister Lekhak. I have not followed the details, and the committee has not shared the details, but we are yet to see the outcomes. But I personally doubt that they will come with a very harsh statement or any punishment for them because we have not witnessed such things in Nepal where a committee can, put a very serious charge on a very senior leader and they can be punished. But I think there'll be a strict warning on them, and I think these are part of a transition, you can say, where a committee sometimes acts as an agent where you try to create peace rather than creating new challenges for themselves. So I think at the end of the day, they'll give some warning, make some fine, which is symbolic, but I think they'll not be major because at the time Prime Minister Oli was elected by the parliament, and there were mistakes, but again, all those happened was disheartening, and I think the committee will not try to create new chaos out of.
That would be the best thing, because if you go ahead with everyone and have an inclusive election in the next run, then definitely I think peace will be there, and let the people decide whom to discard out of power and whom to take up in the power. As you said, that Nepal's complex voting system and division among the nations, I mean, I like there are ethnic groups, right, in Nepal. So in different ethnic groups, it will be very hard for one political party to gain absolute majority. So considering that, I think that this step to have an inquiry committee is the best step that could have been thought. And I actually myself thank the present Prime Minister, Ms. Karki, for that. But what is the situation of freedom of expression? Has it improved, or do you see lingering restrictions and surveillance concerns?
Nepal has always have a very open society. I mean, though there are social media ban, we heard how we use all the platform, and within short time it was removed. We have full freedom of expression in the country. media, I think it's one of the most vibrant in the whole South Asia. I think much better than many countries of countries of Asia. Every political parties are able to express. There are very powerful YouTube channels. There are very powerful social media
Mhm.
groups available on Facebook and all, where they express their opinion, and the news are there, and they are very powerful. They're more powerful than mainstream media. So I think we have very vibrant print media, television, FM radios, social media. All are very vibrant here since long compared to other countries.
So, final question is about economic fallout and financial stability. How have these political disruptions impacted Nepal's economy, especially in terms of foreign investment, tourism, and everyday livelihoods? Could instability deter regional economic cooperation?
Gen Z movement put some setback to tourism, which was flourishing because uh, of all those news that came. Obviously, there was heavy cancellation of the tourists, but very soon Nepal was able to control that. So, I mean, the New Year's we had huge number of tourists even in New Year, but it was below the expectations because of all those that was there on the media about Nepal's Gen Z and all. But I think we are once we have election, I think everything will be set back on track. So, uh, and second is that obviously we have impact on economy. It's over since COVID. There's an impact on our economy. We are struggling with tourism sector. Remittance is the one that have sustained us. In terms of investment, we have not been able to attract huge investment. During Gen Z, some of the major hotels like Hilton was attacked, was burnt. That is a setback to country, but the good news is that they have started to revive that hotel. I saw a few days ago they are trying to reconstruct it. So I think that is giving hope. I mean, once it will take some time, but with new government, new hope would be there, and I think that will spread. If the new forces come to power, that will feel new energy among the people of Nepal. At the same time, they will send positive signals around the world that this is the right time for to invest in Nepal and go ahead with all their businesses as usual. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this insightful discussion about Nepal's political crossroads. We explored the aftermath of the Gen Z color revolution and the challenges facing the interim government and the high stakes election ahead. Dr. Pramod Jaiswal's analysis shed light on the inquiry committee's role, the evolving sentiments of Nepal's youth, and the economic and geopolitical implications of these changes. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the SADF podcast for more conversations on South Asia's politics and peace building. Share your thoughts with us on social media and stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, take care and keep engaging with the issues that matter. Thank you, Dr. Pramod Jaiswal.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.